Welcome to the Nehemiah Entrepreneurship Community Podcast. I'm your host, Patrice. I am here this morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are around the world, with two of our amazing team member, Posim Saw and Christopher Oy. Guys, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Patrice. How are you?
Well, congratulations are in order. These two won our 2021 Chief Servant of the Year awards. And well deserved. And Posim, you've won this award for how many years? I mean, how many times already since you've been with us?
I believe this is the fourth time.
The fourth time. You've been with us 5 years. So you
Mm-hmm.
won four. Are you used to winning everything when you were growing up? Is that kind of a norm for you?
No.
Wow. And the winner is. So 5 out of 4 years. That's incredible. Congratulations. And Chris, this is your first year, I think, fully full time with us, or your second year. You've been with us part time before, but full time is what, your first or second year?
Uh, first year.
First year. And you're following after your partner here, and you won this year. Congratulations. Well, friends, we wanted to honor Posim and Chris for this award. And so if you have an organization and you have staff, this is a great episode to watch because it deals with how to build a staff culture, how to use these kind of award processes to motivate and inspire your staff, and how to use as a tool to create culture. So for Nehemiah Project, every year we have what we call the Chief Servant of the Year Award. And what that is an award that the staff get a chance to select from their peers who among the team members exemplify the values of the organization the most based upon their work output. And so there's a rating that goes around the team, and then people can identify who they want to select. And then my wife, Gina, and we also get a chance to nominate one person. Sometimes who we nominate is also who the staff selects. At that point, it's one person that wins the award. Sometimes who we select is somebody different that the staff selected. In those cases, we have two persons. The winners receive $500, and plus they also receive. Sylvia Bullock, how are you? Thank you. Congratulations from Sylvia Bullock. Sylvia Bullock is an old, not old in terms of age, but way back biblical entrepreneur. Oh, there it is. Joan, how are you? Joan is an amazing publisher, writer, and just all around the world good gal. And these two got selected this year, and they get $500, and they also get a trip to any place that they like. I think there's like a cap or whatever, have it structured for them to take a break. And typically we try to insist that they do take that break. Now we have to stay on pole because sometimes her and breaks don't get along very well. Breaks are good for her, but mentally she has to be pushed towards it. So that's kind of what it's all about. So they have 12 months to kind of take advantage of that. And so congratulations. So your peers selected you, Posim, and then Gina and I selected you, Chris. So first of all, let's kind of go back to your journey within the organization. So let's start with you, Po. You've been here the longest. We also celebrate your 5th year, and wow. So there's a big year for you.
I know
Your
it's a
5th year.
milestone even for me, Patrice.
I
It's a
know.
big year.
Have you been anywhere for 5 years, Po?
Sadly, no. Other than my own business, I can't
Other
say
your
that
own
I
business.
have.
This is the longest you've been anywhere. So literally, Po used to give me year-to-year commitments. When she first began, I said, my goodness, this girl's tough. So how's the 5-year journey been, Po?
Well, other than the fact that it feels like 10 years because things happen so fast in the Nehemiah project, but it's been amazing to see the journey within the organization itself. I remember saying when I first joined, I think we had about like 8 or 9 staff members, and I was the first international staff as well. And still remember even the employee engagement survey. We weren't doing very well and all that kind of stuff. We had like, to kind of overhaul the team, put in the culture. Deborah worked quite a lot on it as well. And now seeing the team grow, and like I said, like in the staff retreat, I think we have about like 40 something, even sometimes 50 something people joining us from all over the world. It is different cultures and translation. But I think one of the key things for me, Patrice, was you mentioned the team culture. And the culture is not just having awards where we honor people and things like that, but I think it's because of the culture that we were able to build that makes it, exciting for um, good people to join us and want to be part of Nehemiah Project. And I think that's been key in them devoting themselves to the work and the mission that we do. So yeah.
Wow. Well said. Well said. Chris, this is your first year. Now, you were kind of a contractor, if you, for lack of a better word, kind of very part time. Posting will pull you in and out and so forth. How's your first year been full time?
First year it has been great. It's been a lot of learning, a lot of getting used to the culture of working with international colleagues, how to work internationally and fully remote, not really seeing people in front of you, kind of thing. So it's kind of a learning curve for me, and to be able to fully, I mean, even for a tech person as myself, it's kind of a odd thing to say. You want to you put. I thought before I came into Nehemiah, like doing all these things would be fully virtual and everything. I thought I would just straight away get used to it. I'll be happy. I will be like smooth sailing. But it's not. It's surprisingly how to say, there's a lot of like learning, in terms of interaction, not to a tech perspective, but dealing with people, interacting with people, how to schedule time, how to talk, and how to be in front of the camera and all that. So it's kind of interesting and kind of scary in a way. So yeah.
Yeah, because you went from being a professor at a college or university, right? Being with people all the time to completely working virtually.
Yes.
That is surprising for you as a tech person that would be a tough learning curve. But anything else that, because you were kind of around EMI before you came in, what has surprised you the most other than that as you come into full time staff member?
um I mean, being in front of students is like it's a whole different ballgame than being in front of people internationally. I mean, I think it's the cultural thing that I'm not used to really talk to people around the world. I mean, if you're in front of a student, it's just you can do your thing. You're the main person. You can say, you can act out all these things. But the thing about international is a little bit different. But for me, the thing that shocks me the most is how fast things are changing in Nehemiah. I mean, like, you guys, I mean, like, we thought about an idea, and then straight up, like, within a few hours we say, hey, we want to do this. Like, what? I mean, I thought when I started working with Post Team, I thought it's her. It's like she's the one giving me all these.
It is her.
Yeah,
Next,
yeah. So
Patrice.
now we know. So I mean, yeah, the thing that you want to like change, the things you want to get into, is always like a new territory for me. Like every day, she gave me these things like, huh? I was like, wait, I never done this before, but we want to try and see how far we can go. So it's always been like that. I mean, since at the beginning I worked with her, and until now it's still the same. So
That'll change.
so
Yeah, the common denominator is post sim, but we'll get into that. We go into culture. Let's go back a little bit. So, Paul, you were the first international staff member. How was it then, just you being the only, and now that you guys are kind of the majority?
I know, right? I must tell you. I mean, I thank God had experience being with Americans, when I was in college and things like that, because kind of entering the organization, you can kind of see it was very American. And a lot of things were very American centric. We were technically, back then, we called ourselves an American company that happened to, do work in different parts of the world and kind of thing. Having to kind of shift that mindset to a global organization, I think it was a shift for everyone. But as the international staff, started coming in, it was like a natural thing that you kind of have to move out of it, And so right now, we don't think that we're an American organization, but we're an international organization. And what does that mean for us? Every little thing, Patrice, and I used to take care of publishing as well. Every little thing they say, an SOP. Oh, is there a translation here? Is there a translation there? I mean, sometimes it used to drive me nuts, but it's the reality of where we are and the people that we're serving.
Yeah. No, well said. Our audience listening and watching us may not know where you guys are from and what that means, right? So you guys are from Malaysia. So tell us a bit about Malaysia, about your country, and is it common for people like yourself to work for an international organization? And what does that mean? What's the implication for that locally? So what is Malaysia and around, what's, in terms of the world geography and what's Malaysia like?
Well, Malaysia is situated in Southeast Asia, and within ourselves, there are so many different, races. So we grew up being in the multicultural society. And some people say that Malaysians make the best missionaries because we're used to being in different culture. We're used to learning other cultures, speaking different languages, honoring, the practices and things like that. And so I think for us, it's not that uncommon. Like a lot of times we go out and I try to figure out, oh, which language should I start with? This person looks like, could be Chinese, could be Malay, could be Indian or whatever. But I think being international is taking it another level. Because for us, dealing with people in Africa are really different from people in America, people in Latin America. So it's just kind of using that and extending it. Do people work a lot in multinational companies? They do. We have like manufacturing companies here and things like that, but it's still kind of within the local community, right? Most of them are Malaysians. And I think it is only in these past recent years that because of the international globalization and trade that has been going on, that people are working virtually with those, outside of the country. And especially given the pandemic, that kind of accelerated everything. So I think we have been prepared for it. It's just taking it up like a few notches.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, many people, let's talk about Malaysia and Christianity as well, because you guys are Christians in Malaysia, but Malaysia is predominantly Muslim country. What does that mean for Christians like yourself? And what percentage are Christians in Malaysia?
I'm not sure about the latest statistics, Patrice, but it is well below 20% Christian, if not way less than that. So I think predominantly we have 60% Malays and probably Muslim, and the rest of them, are kind of mixed. Most of the Chinese are, the different Chinese religions, and the Indians and Hindu as well.
Wow. So you understand how to be a minority in a majority Christian Muslim nation. That's also a unique thing. So let's talk about the roles you guys play in the organization. So, well, before we get to that, actually, you both had a relationship before Nehemiah Project. So, Chris, talk to me about that. So, you've always how was your relationship with Poe? How did you guys connect? And how did she convince you to join her Nehemiah Project?
Well, I know her through the current church that I went and that I'm currently attending. So the first time I met her is at a campfire service or campfire. We call it campfire camp, something like that. So that's when I know about Posim, and I didn't know what she do. And we started just to I started attending the church and then go to the CG, the Connect group, and then slowly we get to know what we are doing. And at that point of time, I was a software developer, so I was new. I just graduated. I think like a few years after I know her, and then I was just doing my own thing. And then after after the it's like during my time when I was transitioning from being a software developer into a lecturer in college. So during that time, that transition, uh, I'm kind of I would say like lost because due to the situation I had, and because I wanted to venture into my own thing and then try out different things, and that's when Postim suggested that we should like try out and do different things on our own, because she have her own company. So she kind of contracted me and say, hey, I have this project, why don't you try this? And slowly, this is kind of a, how to say, when you want to persuade a kid to do things, you give them a candy, and then after that you give them something else, and then you give them, oh, if you do this, then you get this. So slowly it's like from a small project. I'm not a really out front, like like risk person. I tend to do things very slow. I try to do all this. I mean, she will know, I don't like to kind of venture into some things I don't know. And she is the kind of person where she'll ask you, hey, why don't you just try this and then you see how it goes? No harm trying. If you fail, you fail, kind of thing. So from like small project, from a small website, and then go to like apps, and then at that point of time, like app is like a, I don't know anything about app, like programming. Yeah, I know programming, but it's like a different level kind of thing. And then slowly she told me about Nehemiah, and that's when she joined Nehemiah, and then also trying to like build a different platform that I never know before. I never ventured before. And then this is the kind of thing when like how God take you from different level to different level, and then you just say, oh, okay, I can do this. Oh, little bit different. Oh yeah, I can do this. A little bit different. Then yeah, I can do this. So I mean, and now this is where we are. So that is something that when you look back, it's like, if you ever told me like 5 years ago before everything started and say you will be doing this, like doing an international company, and then you have all these different platforms, you are doing this, all this integration and all that, I'll be like, no. It's a really different ball game. So
That
I
is
think
incredible.
yeah, so that's the thing that kind of uh, brings me to that thing that works with her. And then for me, after you try different things, you're like, I wonder what else I can do. So it becomes like a habit, like a thing that you want to do, and then it kind of builds in you that you want to kind of venture and see. I want to see how far I can go. I want to see
Wow.
what else I can do. So this is something that I learned from her, basically.
Paul, you've kind of mentored Chris along the way. What's interesting, you're pretty risk adverse yourself, Paul, but it looks like you taught him how to take risks. Could you reconcile the two for me?
Well, compared to you, Patrice, I'm definitely risk adverse. I think a lot of people are, but to a certain extent as well. I do jump into the deep end with you, and I think you know
You
that.
do.
Yeah, just to kind of believe in the vision and say, hey, let's try this and see, if we could do it. Um, I think it's that, okay, if I know, say about 40%, can I get it done to 100%? The rest of it I don't know, but let's just try it and see. So it's been I think this is the first time I'm hearing Chris share that, and it kind of mimics my journey a little bit, but I think I jump in a little bit faster than he does.
So when you think back, let's take post Sim as a teenager. Would post Sim have seen herself pioneering things in this way forward in the future?
Tracy, you don't even have to go that far back. I think, I've grown in so many different ways since then. But I've always said that I feel like God tricked me into joining Nehemiah Project, or maybe you did. I don't know which it is, because I still remember you calling me up and say, "Hey, Po, do you know anybody who can build a website where we have protected content and people just need to log in, and access it?" I was like, "Yeah, I think I could do it. Sounds simple enough." That became the e-community vision, which became so big. And I think, that was when I pulled in Chris. I was like, "Chris, we have to do this. Like, I don't know how to do these things in the back end, can you join me and help me do?" And I think, like, with this thing and this thing, I think we can do it, And that, even from that vision, which I thought was so big at that moment, Patrice, we've even grown, in the past year or so. And now the whole entire thing is this e-community vision with all these like centers from around the world. So I think it's true that God really takes us from level to level, but He kind of guides that process for us.
Well said. Well said. With that, let's talk about your role. So let's start with you, Po. So you won this award. Your peer selected you. What is your role? What do you do at Nehemiah Project?
Oh, that's a good question. So up until last year, I was the e-community director. And so just kind of overseeing everything of the e-community, mainly on the technical side of it, when we built the entire platform, putting systems in place. And that kind of got extended, into other tech applications. At that time as well, I was kind of overseeing a few things in terms of the publishing department, the translations, and the books that we produced and things like that. And let's not talk about Asia and all that, but I think the main thing for me was really in the area of the technology and innovation. So a lot of times, when our beloved CSO has like a crazy idea, he would say, "Hey, I want to do this. Can it be done?" And I think for me is the excitement of trying to figure out how we could put those things in place on the technology end to be able to enable us to do that. We've also had a launch of the eCommunity 3.0 last year, which, we came up with the mobile apps and also the translations and things like that. So really kind of thinking of all these different things that we need to put in place on the technology end in order to be able to, whether it's equipping, our customers, our clients, or enabling the organization operationally on the back end to be able to support, a whole international organization.
Wow, well said. And now you are the chief innovation, this innovation officer, chief tech innovation, and that's been an evolutionary role, and with the objective of moving you more and more in the thinking of technology versus actually the managing of technology, which is kind of where your sweet spot is. And one thing about Po is she's the one person that can come with an idea and she kind of think about how to make it happen from a tech solution standpoint. And that's a unique gift, and be able also to work with tech people like Chris and others. It's like you have this instinctively gift to know what's going to work and what to try. This is again where you're that risk taker, because you take a lot of risk on the tech side. That's kind of a bent that you have. Am I right?
That's true. And I think, throughout the years, kind of discovering that is my sweet spot. So I'm really, really thankful for the team, people like Chris, Kat, Ken, and there are a lot of other people in the back end, because they do what they do best and they do it even better than I can, And so to have them come in and to be able to play that role enables me to kind of play on where I feel like that's my sweet spot, and being able to just connect, creativity with technology, and, really seeing how we can push that forward and push boundaries.
Oh, I love that. Before I go to Chris, Po, so you bring something interesting up, which is, so because you are a doer and a thinker, but more of a thinker than a doer, but you've been more of a doer than a thinker in the past by virtue of necessity. Has it been hard making the transition?
I'm actually loving it. I don't think I can get out of it fast enough. You don't understand how thankful I am to have the team members, in position that really enables me to do that.
I love it. I love it. We have a line in Nehemiah called "Working Your God-Giving Sweet Spot," and that's the journey that Paul Simmons in. So, Paul, if 100% is the max, is the ideal, what percentage ratio would you say you are to where you really want to be? What would you say if you want to put a
Um,
percentage to it?
oh, I don't know. Probably about 50 something.
Wow, that's progress. So, Chris, what do you do at Nehemiah Project?
So I'm the developer and tech and admin support. So basically, what I do is developing new things that POSIM wants to develop or try new or try new ideas, and she always give me headache. For me, it's I totally agree with what you said, Patrice, about how POSIM can be in that sweet spot that she can think about the technology and also doing at the same time. It's not an easy way. I mean, even for me, like I wouldn't say I will be able to do that because it's like when you are doing some certain work for a really long time, you intend to limit your mindset is kind of limited to that skills that you have. You can't even start to think creatively and out of the box kind of thing. So for me, I think to be able to do that is definitely not easy. And then for me, it's like sometimes when she gave me certain ideas, I'm like, I don't think this thing can be done. I again I told myself this is something that I know is a technical person kind of thing. When you're talking to a technician, it's like, oh, I only have this thing, and I don't want to do all these things. So for me, it's that kind of excites me as well as slowly, you adapt to culture, the way your 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 boss is thinking, how fast paced it is. You basically have to do everything. So for me, the development part of it, like trying new things, like supporting the our colleagues and the company is really a different thing. I generally like to help people with their technology stuff because I'm more technological in tune in those technologies kind of thing. But into to be able to be in the international platform and then you talk to different people, and I mean sometimes you get cultural different, you get language different. I don't know about you guys, but English is not really like my first language, and to be able to kind of try to sound like you guys or to be able to, I mean, I still can't get into that that mindset. Like Postim, when she talked to us and she talks to you and talk to different people, she have different accent
I've
altogether.
noticed she
Yeah.
has a special accent for you guys and for us.
Yes. Yes. I kind of try to do that, but I still have that Malaysia accent. I can't run away from that. But she, it's a totally different thing. So for me, that's what I do. I'm
Right.
basically trying to take whatever ideas from you, from her, and for her is I really want to just say this, like when you having her in between between you and me is totally helps a lot of things because it's I can't say it enough because that the I don't know, for lack of a better word, the filter kind of works really well, like from
Yeah.
the idea, from how the idea turns into technical, and then to the technical actually doing all these things. It works beautifully. So for me,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is kind of my sweet spot as well for now. I don't know where I want to go in the future, but I kind of like where I'm at right now.
I love it. As you were talking, I was just thinking, I said, wow. So both things, I give her a lot of a hard time. She gives you a hard time. So I guess she passes.
Yeah.
Careful what you pass down, Patrice. See, this
I
is how it
know.
works.
And it's amazing. But as I was just thinking as Chris was talking, I was thinking about the the giftedness of there's a book I'm reading right now called the book that created your world. How the Bible shaped. It's a really really good book. It's actually written by an Indian fellow. The book that made your world. How the Bible created the soul of Western civilization. And one of the things he points out is how the Bible brought innovation to the West, the ability to create like God, to think out of boundaries. And that's kind of what's happening, where, Chris, because you're in it, you focus on what the constraint that you think you can do. Because Paul's not in it, she thinks about the possibilities. And she challenged you to let possibilities drive the outcome versus let the tool drive the outcome, right? And at my level, same thing. I'm focusing on the objective, and I'm kind of there. But okay, we got to get here. We need to find a tool that get us there. Not limit. We can't limit our objective to the tool. We have to find a tool that get us to the objective, or adjust the tool to get us to the objective. And that's really a gift, Paul, to have this kind of triumph. Because as I'm listening, I say, wow, who but God would put a post-sim, a Chris Oy, and a Patrice in the same organization with this kind of harmony?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And like as he was sharing too, I think of the importance of team members being at different positions and playing the different roles, right? Like it's important that Chris focuses on, the development aspect, the programming aspect, and he does think like a developer, and he needs to think like a developer. He needs to tell me, what to look out for, what are some of the pitfalls, what are certain limitations and all that kind of stuff. But to have all these different people in these different areas, that's what makes it work. And you look back, I mean, we can be intentional to a certain extent in bringing on team members, but at the end of it, you see God's hand of grace and leading, putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah. Well, so that is powerful. That is incredibly powerful. Guys, so let's talk about what you love most and disdain most about your job. Let's start with you, Chris. What you love most about your job? What do you not like as much about your job?
Well, when I started coming in to work in Nehemiah, my thing that I would like the most to be working in Nehemiah at that point is to be able to travel. But travel as in like not only a travel abroad, but as a lecturer before, your time that you can take leave and everything is very limited because you need to schedule your schedule with your student. You need to talk to your boss. You need to see how many windows can you shift and all these things before the student complain. Why you shove all these syllabus into 1 week and all these things. So my time that back then is very limited. So when I come to Nehemiah, my thought is like, oh, now I can go anywhere and work. I can just bring my laptop and then go to my brother's place in KL, or I want to just go to Indonesia and all that, so I can do that. But as we all know, we can't travel. COVID. So so that is something that I was like, it's no fun. But the thing I like most, and I discovered this, actually, I'm not say I discovered this. I think there's something I want that I found in Nehemiah. That should be the word. So for me, as a developer, the most interesting thing that I feel like that I have done in Nehemiah is to like do problem solving, like internationally, quote unquote lah. Even though our team is in Malaysia, we work at our home in Penang, but we do it virtually. We meet together online. We just go try to figure out. We share our screen. This is the thing. I found this thing. This is a rock, and then we kind of brainstorm and say, hey, when do you try this? You change this thing. You try this and see whether it changes anything and all that. So at that process, during that process, I realized, wow, I actually really enjoy doing this. I mean, personally, I'm a really in-person kind of person. When you see me online and you talk to me in person, it's a totally. I'm more comfortable when talking to you in person than talking to you in virtual settings. I know it's kind of weird for a tech person, but then again, it might kind of make sense as well. So for me, like to be able to like feels that what I do like impacted different things in the company, and to be able to have the team working together, figure things out together. I mean, when you work in a physical company, we call it a physical company. You come together, you have a meeting, you try to solve stuff. I find that it's oddly more difficult than you do it online. If you get what I mean. Like it, doing it online should be harder than you doing it in person and physically. But to be able to do that, like because I wanted to work remotely, and the thing that you want to like come together and solve stuff is like one of the main thing I feel like it's not really possible, because you have your time, I have my time. You work in the morning, I work in the evening, and all this thing. It's kind of difficult. But then when things works out during that time, I was so amazed, because I literally told my sister that this is the thing that I really like the most about working as a developer, because you get to like solve issues, you get to really kind of bend your mind in a way that you also find that I didn't know that this side of me exists, or you can think like that, or you kind of discover it. I don't know. It just pushes you to innovate. I mean, like for me, as a tech person, or as a technical person, it's very hard for you to innovate. You are kind of stuck in that loop. You're kind of stuck in that kind of tools that you have. But to be able to see yourself kind of think outside the box, leading by your team members, and your colleagues and your boss, definitely helps me to go different levels, and I can see myself growing. Like the thing that, like in somehow in one word, the thing I really like about working Nehemiah, is that it pushes you, and then you can see growth in yourself. It's not like, oh, you keep on doing the same thing again and again and again. Obviously, not doing the same thing give you a lot of headache. But then again, when in the end of the day, when you see the fruit, you see the results, it's like, yeah, man, it's all worth it, with all the trouble that you have. Well, in saying
Wow.
that, what I don't like, it kind of also the same thing, because I mean, I know I say that in terms of the end result, but sometimes and just gonna be honest, sometimes you just want to do the same thing, but then again, you talk to yourself that you need to do it in order for you to grow. But then again, this is like you are in your uncomfort zone and comfort zone at the same time,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you kind of need to be led by somebody to kind of pushes you. And this is something that I really appreciate what Posim does. And then I can say that she's very patient with me. And I know I just tell her sometimes, like, how this thing can be done? It's not possible. It's like okay, never mind. And then I know that Posim doesn't really take no for an answer, unless I give her some proof and evidence. I need to like show her, like, you see, yeah. So so yeah, so it's all the fun and all the things that we go through. I mean, God takes us from, if you don't struggle, if you don't work hard, encounter hardship and all this, you cannot grow. But then
Yeah.
again, this is something that we hate, but it's necessary. So that's something that, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Posim, what do you like most, and what do you not like as much about your
Well, I'm going
job?
to start with things that I do not like. I do not like routine work, doing the same thing over and over again, going back to a PowerPoint and changing things.
Aren't you glad that no more PowerPoints for you? At
I
least
must
not
tell
for
you,
me.
Sam is amazing at it. God bless her. All power to her. Um, I think my personality type, I do not like meetings as well. Although that's also another necessary quote unquote evil for me, knowing that we need that to kind of move things forward. I do not like IT work, fixing things. Kat is wonderful in that tech support role. She has the patience and the grace, which I do not have. I will tell you, so I'm so thankful for each of the team members again. Cannot emphasize that enough. What I do enjoy, I think, is the freedom to be able to create and to change. And Patrice, I really need to thank you for that. I know that there's a lot of trust that you do allow us that freedom and that space to be able to figure things out, try out new things and stuff. And I think Nehemiah project, working in it, has really, taught us so much. And that's how, we can more confidently say we can serve our clients even in terms of business services, because of all these things we've tried and tested. We know what works, but we know what doesn't work, the limitations of things, and how we can innovate. And I think the other joy is to watch the team members grow. So people like Chris, Kat, and Ruben, and so many of them, and Sam, to watch their own personal development, how they've grown, whether it's as a person, whether spiritually or within their job, seeing how far they have come. That is an amazing joy for me. And I think the other fun thing is the milestones that we're able to achieve. Like Chris kind of alluded to it, sometimes like you don't think that something is possible, but when you try all different ways to solve it and you are able to solve like a major issue, it's like, oh my goodness, we were able to do that, check. Let's go on for the next one. So those are the joys of the work.
Wow. And they bring a good point. Our tech team is also available to our clients, because through business services, if you need whether it's a website, if you need to develop any tech infrastructure for your own organization, our team is available through business services. You can just reach out to our office and we'll make sure that we do an assessment to see how we can help you. So guys, as we land the plane here, this has been so fun. I could talk to you guys forever. What's been, Chris, what has this meant to you, winning the 2021 Chief Servant of the Year award?
Well, for me, Patrice, it's really meant that is number one. I think is being appreciated. That's the most important thing, and to be seen on a lot of things that people don't see, I guess. Because working in a tech industry, in a tech position, in a person in the background, more often than not, people don't see you, and in the virtual company, or in the like international company, it's even harder, I would say. If you just do in the background, just doing the numbers, and this is something that I would say is really hard for people to really point out or notice. So I just want to really thank you, Patrice and Gina, to have chosen me to be the chief servant for this year, for last year. Sorry, in 2022. So I think for me, it's really the kind of recognition that the company actually puts into example of how you guys notice even the smallest thing. Like literally, what I do may be a few hours, just change the number. You can just see one number change, and then that's about it. But the hours that you put in to make sure that number points out is correctly, or the change is correctly, is a really small thing to many people, and like to be able to notice that, and to be able to be recognized of doing that. Sometimes sometimes I feel like a designer. Sometimes you say, oh, why don't you just do this? It's so easy. Just change this. Just change this. It's so easy. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours that put it into it. So, and then to be able to, like put me in the spotlight and say, like, see, this is what he did. And more often than not, that's something that also represents your leadership and Posim's leadership as well, to be able to recognize, not only that the team works together really well, and to be able to for us as a, like, for me, it's also sometimes as a working in culture, it's like I do my thing. You give me the work, I just do my thing. But for me to be able to see in an international company, and especially in the EMI project, to really see like the value of your coworkers, your team, your boss, even the top management and top leadership, to be able to see, like, the connection and the appreciation, the relationship, I would say, to be able to establish that and to be able to want to go further. You it's like you are talking to the lowest person, the lowest position person, to be able to just bring it up. You are part of the company. We see you there, even we don't notice the things that you do, or some majority of the people doesn't notice the things that you do, but we see you. So these are the things that I really appreciate the most in Nehemiah. And thank you again, once again, Patrice, and Gina, and also Posi, most of all, to be able to pull
Wow.
me in and to persuade me to work on different things, and to help me grow as well as a person. So yeah.
You are welcome. I'm going to ask a question that I may regret asking, but let's see me a little test. So, where have you been treated better or enjoy the culture better, at Nehemiah or your old job?
Of course, I've been treated better here. It's a different
We passed
culture.
that test.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, that was a close.
Thank you so much, Patrice. And
You're
yeah,
welcome.
I
And
can't really thank you guys enough, really. Yeah.
yeah, and I ask that because sometimes people leave secular jobs or jobs with and then they're coming to quote unquote a Christian environment, whether it's a church, a Christian business or whatever. And sometimes they have the worst experience. Sometimes it's like they're about to go back to the world. So I'm glad that we passed that threshold. Possum, you've won this 4 years out of 5 you've been here. What has that meant for you, winning this award or these awards?
A couple of things, and I think the first one is just the joy of being able to serve different ones, our different partners around the globe. But I think at this point in time, for me, it's more of a testament to where we have come as an organization. And I always say, like, every time there's and I really appreciate the recognition, but the truth is, every time, like, even in a team sport, when a person shines, there are so many people supporting that person to enable that person to do what he does. Take for instance, like a basketball game. There are people who play defense. There are people who play support, passing the person the ball before he can, score the goal and things like that. And so for me, it is pretty much like that. And when I say the team, not just the tech team, but the team, across the whole organization. And that's what they do well in. And I think, like, if you talk to any of our staff members, one of the things that they do appreciate is really the team coming together, because it is a team sport, what we're playing right now.
Wow, well said. So before we let you guys go, we're talking with Posim and Chris Oy about the 2021 Chief Servant of the Year Awards. They were selected this year as the exemplifying our values in how they do their work and serve our team. So before, I want you guys to give some advice. By the way, if you want to know more about Nehemiah Project, go to our website, nehemiahecommunity.com, nehemiahecommunity.com. There you can learn about our training program, our coaching program, access to capital. You can also become part of our community. And who knows, maybe part of our team, joining Posim and Chris Oil and playing a role within the organization. So last question. So something personal about you guys. Start with you, Paul. So Posim, away from work, what does she enjoy to do most?
I love to take walks. I love to read books. I love the water. I can kind of hang there all the time. But here's the thing. Whenever I kind of pull away and allow myself that bandwidth, that space, that time, what happens? There are all these other ideas that comes into my head. And I go, oh, we could build that and build this. Sometimes trying to run away from the stress. And I tell God, I just want to, like, go somewhere quiet. But I know myself. Give me 2 weeks and I'll try to start to fix something or build something. That's when all the excitement and all these ideas come in. So I think that's kind of how I am. I do enjoy, just kind of resting, and unplugging. But yet at the same time, I must say, I do enjoy the creativity, the innovation, that building. If we could do something that equips people and makes their life easier so that they can fulfill their God's calling, that would be a great thing.
Wow. Chris Oy. Chris Oy, away from work, what does he enjoy to do most?
Um, for me, while working and then doing my free time, I first of all, I really like to travel and to really like see the different culture, meet different people. Like basically just to open my mind, or to different things, to see different things and see like God's creation in people, in the environment, in the places that you went. Like sometimes you go to different places and you see like, wow, God made this. This is awesome. So I mean, for me, that is the thing that I like to do and to like to travel. And also the other thing is, at times I'm also have something like I don't think it's as intense as Posims, but I do like to create stuff as well. Like I enjoy problem solving. I enjoy try to figure out different things. I like to learn as well. So people once asked me this question before, like, if you don't have any issue with money, what you want to do. I'll be like, I want to learn how to do pottery. How to say, I learn how to fix a bike. I want to learn how to learn more to speak different languages. I want to learn basically learn a lot of things that I feel like is really enjoyable. And I mean, sometimes when you learn new things, you kind of feel like you are, I don't know, uh, being new experience, I guess that's the word, for into your life, and you feel like, oh, there's more to life than what you are currently in. And to be able to experience that is kind of, I feel I take joy in that. Like, if you be able to discover, I mean, more importantly, it's just to discover yourself more, and like see yourself in different places and different levels, and to push yourself to be able to see where can you go and how far can you go. And that's something that I enjoy doing, during my free time, and see like, what else can you do? What else can you build? I think just, I don't know whether it's a guy thing that you like to do things with your hands, but it's kind of that, basically. Yeah.
I love it. One of your associates, your coworker, says this. Congratulations, Paul and Chris, very well deserved recipients of the 2021 Chief Servant of the Year Award. You both truly exemplify excellence. It is an honor and blessing to work with you. And that's from Jennifer Bray. Wow. So, lastly, there are people watching and listening all over the world. It's been a tough year for many. We're going in now the third year of COVID-19. Chris, in midst of COVID, you made a transition from your job, took a risk, didn't know how it was going to be. You was hoping to travel. Here you are, been stuck at home, not able to travel. What can you say to encourage people out there as they persevere in believing God for another day beyond COVID?
For me, I think doing the things that you like obviously is important, and while you are doing it, you also do your work, I guess. So for me, even though I don't get to travel now, but I feel like doing things where you are at is more important than be able to do things on your, like, on your own desire, kind of thing. To sometimes when you be able to do things where you are, when you are stuck, I guess that's the word. When you are stuck and you persevere through, it builds you in terms of spiritually characters.
Mm.
And you can persevere through different trials. It kind of also important that like in the Bible, you always hear people say, when they are going through trial, they feel joy. They don't feel that they are trapped. Those kind of thing. I think doing like things like biblically, also in an international company, in a Christian company, that's something that I really see, you know, in the leaders, in my co-worker, in my teams. They really embrace that. So I guess that is something that God uses to build characters. And when you are able to do more, you're able to build yourself, God will give you more things to handle. I think that's something that also is a very biblical thing when you are given if there will be you'll be given more if you can handle it, you know. So I didn't think that is something that people don't realize. Then I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that, but you don't build that foundation or that character to be able to handle that. So I guess this is something that I'm really encouraged. You know, sometimes when you go through different hardship, you will know, or you'll be very confident that you can face the whatever challenge that will throw at you. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, good word. Posem, I happen to get the chance to see you in your most vulnerable moments where you're trying to press through, whether it's personal issues, what it might be. And oftentimes people see the Posem that's, that superhero Posem. They don't see that private Posem. You've won this award four times. It's not been the 5 years of all roses for you. Talk to us a bit about, what would you advise people? Your ability to manage between personal trials and work excellence is thought, is just incredibly amazing. Um, what advice would you give people as they face personal trials, whatever they might be, while still trying to give their work their best or their call their best? What's been key to your secret to your success in navigating that? What advice would you give them?
Well, firstly, Patrice, that is very true, and I think a lot of times people think that, oh, it's so easy and all that, but there are all these personal challenges. And I think it is really in those times that God really uses to shape us and mold us. Because if we do not learn to fight those daily battles, those personal daily battles, it's going to be hard for us to be able to fight the big fights that are out there. But to also know, you know, God's calling for our lives. I think one of the things that has helped me is to know that I am supposed to be here at this season, and that's where God has positioned me. And so, whatever challenges that I face, recognizing that it is God's way of shaping me and molding me, but He also grants me the grace to be able to do what I've been called to do, and I really do see that, you know. Um, and in terms of your question, there are times when I feel like things are mundane or when times are really challenging. And then there are seasons that are fast and moving. And I think one of the things that I've learned is to really appreciate each season and not fuss about it, not wanting to get out of it, and asking ourselves rather, what is it that God wants me to learn within that season? Because sometimes it may be a challenging time for us, but God is using that in preparing us for other things that are coming, down the pipeline. There are times when things seem a little bit mundane, but those are the times when He says, this is the season, catch your breath, because the next minute the bullet train is going to take off, and we're off to the races. So really just learning to discern what God wants to do within us, and trusting, I think, in the grace that He has given us to be able to help us to play our role as well.
Wow. Chris, Posim, to both of you guys, thank you so much again. Congratulations. I'm personally grateful for your trust and the privilege to work with both of you guys, and thank you for believing in the vision and helping us build kingdom businesses globally. You've helped us to build a leading innovative company, one that makes God proud, serves gospel around the world, and has the potential to leave a lasting legacy. Thank you so much for that. With that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this journey as we've reflected upon Post Sims and Chris Orr's journey with Nehemiah Project and them winning the 2021 Chief Servant of the Year Award. Hey, next year we're going to bring to you who will win next year as we continue to interview our team members and just hear insights from them considering how God is working in their lives and how they are being impacted by these awards. With that said, let me pray for you. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord enable you to steward those talents that are under your care, just as Posim and Chris Oy have done. And may you steward them in such a way, no matter what vocation you do, what your business, no matter your industry, no matter your job, steward them in such a way that one day you will hear those wonderful words. Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. He'll now make you rule over much. God bless you. Thank you so much, Bo and Chris. Good
Thank you
night
for having us,
and
Patrice.
goodbye.
Thank you for having us, Patrice. Thank you.
Thank you.